We are going to be talking about timelines, karmic lessons, soul contracts, and how to heal in your Akashic Records. And so this is in response to a video that I made about how there are no past lives. What a lot of people talk about in spirituality, they're all concurrently running at once. It depends on where you're blipping into the timeline. And I'm going to give you all an example, but I'll read this. Since we are all living these lives simultaneously, when we don't learn a lesson, that's a karmic lesson, because sometimes you'll have a rollover where you didn't quite complete it, or you want to look through a different perceptual lens because all of our soul fragments are experiencing different realities. So maybe you rolled it over so you could do it again in a different lens. How do we sign up to try to learn it in the next life since they are all running simultaneously? And thank you, Deanna. This is a great question. Thank you. I'm going to give an example of an Akashic record reading that I had with somebody, also the work that I do with inner children in people's Akasha fields. So this looks like this person that I worked with timeline. Okay, so this is the timeline that they're currently on in this incarnation. These are different chapters of your life. You have many different higher selves. At each new chapter, you become the new higher self, and you are the higher self to all of your past versions, anybody younger than you, even yesterday, and to your inner children. Okay, so this is them on this incarnation. So when I went into his Akasha field, he had a karmic lesson that he was rolling over from a different timeline. And that timeline had done some not so great things in their existence. And they needed help with forgiveness because that timeline had gotten to the end of their life and had reconciled and said, wow, I did some things that were not so great. And they were holding a lot of shame and guilt. And so this person that I was speaking to in this incarnation, I was like, have you ever had this feeling like way down in the pit of your stomach of always being wrong, like you're doing something like terrible, but you're not, you're a great person? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's probably because you're picking up on a different timeline. You're actually a very good frequency reader. You just don't realize that it's not you, it is you, but it's a different soul fragment of you. And your oversoul is asking you to come in and help them heal, which is going to help you up level in this incarnation with your spiritual gifts. Because once you reach a frequency within yourself and learn how to heal it, whether it's in this incarnation or for other incarnations, now you could do that with other people and find those frequencies within them and help them do timeline healing. And so this version, I said, your oversoul is asking you to come in and heal this one. Okay, he is at the end of that timeline. There is no end and there is no beginning, but for the purposes of the human constructual mind, he had already done the deeds. And so this chapter version of him needed to heal. And I said, it's not your responsibility to heal him. I said, if you don't, there will be other incarnations of you that will gladly do that. But it would be beneficial for you to do that since you're an energy healer and you want to learn how to do Akasha healing and heal other people's timelines. And so your oversoul is keeping watch of all the timelines, all of them. Your oversoul is the first existence of you. This is after you birthed out of source. Okay? All of the timelines are feedback looping to the oversoul. And so it's almost like the watcher, and they like delegate of like, hey, why don't you go mentor this timeline? Or how about you heal this timeline? So this is how timeline shifting healing works, just like with your inner children. So let's say that this is you now, and these are all your inner children back here. So when I'm doing Akasha healing with an inner child, we are not looking at memories. We are actually timeline shifting back to their consciousness and that time and space. It's called an energetic time stamp. And so we are actually talking to that child's consciousness with their experiences and their memories and their perceptions. Just like this person was doing that in time and space through it to this timeline. So you can, it's all snapshotted in the Akasha fields. There's no end and there's no beginning. It's just timestamps that you can blip in and out of. And soul fragment healing is finding this big web of yourself and all these different fragments and healing them at deep core levels with these karmic lessons, and then healing as a whole soul. And so you are feedback looping information to your other timelines just like they are to you and to your oversoul and down back to you. Hopefully that made sense the way that I was explaining it. We were kind of all over the place there. questions, I would love to hear them in the comments, or what your thoughts are on soul fragment healing and karmic lesson clearing.